And I don't even understand myself right now. I believed in him. He must have known that. He must have known. Otherwise, he would have never called me. He must have known. I remember how it was in the beginning. We all had such high hopes that God was about to do something great. And we did see great things. We witnessed miracles. I was one of those that he sent out. We found even the demons were subject to us. It was amazing. We all came back so excited. Such a glowing report. But Jesus kept talking about suffering and death instead of the victory that we were all looking for. He never understood that it takes money. It takes money to operate a campaign like this to help the poor. He entrusted me with that. I took care of the money, but he never saw the value of it. Guys like John always said that I was misusing the money. But if you're going to administer aid to the poor, you need someone that knows what they're doing to take care of it. Surely I was entitled to a small consulting fee, and of course to get paid back for my expenses. John. I was tempted to drop out, just like some of the others were. Some of them even did drop out. I never did. I stuck with him because I had a really, really responsible job taking care of the money. People followed him everywhere. They followed him up mountainsides. They crossed lakes. They did whatever they could to hear him speak. And they didn't bring anything with them. They didn't so much as pack a bag. They never brought a lunch. Jesus fed them. He fed thousands of them. He'd take the people to faraway places, talk about his kingdom. Kingdom. He never made the first move to establish a kingdom. He didn't do anything. We didn't ask Romans to come and occupy our land. We didn't ask for their soldiers to come. We never asked for Herod the Great to kill our children. We needed Jesus. We really needed a man of God to be king. And he seemed perfect. He was from the godly tribe. He was even a prophet. You know, just 2 weeks ago, all the Jews were coming into Jerusalem for the Passover. I thought it was the perfect time for Jesus to step up and act boldly. With everyone there, we could have led a revolt against the Romans. Jesus could have acted boldly for once, called down his legions of angels. But he never made the first move. Other than that one time in the temple, he never really did anything to become the king we were looking for. Nothing to fight the corruption. He just talked about giving his life. Giving his life as a ransom. A ransom for who? For the Gentiles? What about us Jews? Don't we deserve a break? We didn't even have enough money for the feast. We didn't have enough money to buy swords if we had to defend ourselves. So I went to the priests. I went to the priests and I asked them what they'd be willing to give me if I led them to him. He was sick. They were so happy to talk to me. Then they counted out 30 pieces of silver, and they promised that they'd pay me if I led them to him. I agreed, and I waited for my opportunity. $30 pieces of silver. For days I couldn't bring myself to do it. But I had to do something to get him moving. I figured once the temple guard went to arrest him, he'd finally act boldly. He'd finally step up into being who he was called to be, the king he was supposed to be. It didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way at all. Just the other day, we sat down to eat. You know, it was the last time that all of us got together. He knew. He gave the blessing for the feast. He was always speaking in these parables, these strange ways. He took the bread and he called it his body. Then he took the wine, he called it his blood. And then he looked at everyone and he said, one of you will betray me. Peter and John. Peter and John asked Jesus who would it be. And he told them, we all heard him say it, the one I give this to. And then he gave it to me. To me. I said, surely not I, Lord. And then he looked at me right in the eye. He said, yes, Judas, it's you. He knew. He knew. He said, do quickly what you are about to do. Do quickly. The others must have thought he wanted me to go get more for the feast, or maybe give some money to the poor. I didn't know really what he meant. Had he changed his mind about becoming king? Did he want me to give him up? Did he know what I was up to? It was the perfect time on Passover, with all the people there. So I left. I ran to the priests. I told them he's going to be in the garden. I knew they'd be going there. So they followed me there. When we showed up, all the apostles were so surprised. You should have seen the looks on their faces. Especially Peter. Big, dumb Peter. They looked at me as if I was supposed to do something. I looked at Jesus, and then I told them, that's him. They still didn't seem to want to do anything, so I walked up to the Lord. I went to give him a kiss. And he looked me right in the eye and he said, are you about to betray me with a kiss? Just then the guards jumped out. They tried to seize him. And again Peter drew a knife, tried to defend him, but Jesus wouldn't even stand for that. All the apostles ran. All of them. I wasn't the only one who betrayed him. They all betrayed him. And then he was arrested and they took him away. They made their payoff. 30 pieces of silver. Price of a man's life. They took him to court and tried him for blasphemy. They said they were going to do that because he was saying he was the Son of God. They spit at him. They beat him. All I could do was watch. When he came to trial, Pilate asked what he should do with him. And all the crowd were screaming, crucify him! Crucify him! They all followed him. They all followed him and they were all willing to give him up. I guess they were disappointed, just like me, that he wasn't going to be the king he said he would be. I couldn't stand it any longer, though. I ran back to the temple. I told the priests I had sinned. I tried to undo the deal I made, but they'd have no way in it. What have I done? What have I done? You've got to pray for me. They're nailing him to a cross right now. He's going to die a long and torturous death. Nails in his hands and feet, his back scraping up against the wood. It could take hours. I don't want to die that way. I want to go quick. And you can be sure, as soon as Jesus is dead, they're going to come after us. And they're going to want to do the same thing to us. That's not going to happen to me. Even though Scripture says, cursed is the man who hangs from a tree, I'm going to go quick. I'm going to do it my way. I deserve worse. but I'm not going to wait around for it. And you got to understand, it wasn't for the money. They can take their stupid money. I just wanted him to move. I wanted him to move. Now that they have him in custody, there's nothing more I can do for him. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do.